You're listening to the State Football Championships on the Ohio High School Athletic Association Radio Network.
And we are joined now by Dr. Debbie Moore. She is the Associate Commissioner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. And Dr. Moore, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Randy. It's my pleasure.
Let us talk about what's been going on. No doubt quite a few fans will watch the football championships this weekend on Sports Time Ohio, but also many of them have also watched the volleyball state championships from a few weeks ago. I had the honor to work on that. Volleyball, of course, is one of your fall sports. How did everything go with the state tournament this year?
Well, first of all, we were really pleased that we had television coverage from STO for our state volleyball finals on Saturday, and it's just a great tournament. Everything went really, really well. We've been at the Nutter Center, hard to believe, 21 years. This year's tournament was just packed with excitement. The teams were really well matched, and our attendance was up about 2,000. I was just really thrilled with the competition.
And a lot of fun, too. You sense that excitement and enjoyment in volleyball. I think more so than some other sports. You just see that on the court with the young ladies.
You know, I think you're right. As far as a spectator sport, I think volleyball is one of the most exciting. Something's happening on every single point or every single play, and you know, the girls are well trained, well coached, and they compete hard, and it's just really, really fun.
I know the fall is also a particularly busy time for you, not only because of your fall sports like volleyball and field hockey, but also because August and September are so busy with making eligibility decisions and handling transfer cases, which you are in charge of as well, too. Now, how has that process evolved in recent years?
Well, it's been an evolving process over the last decade with some major changes in our transfer bylaws. Keep in mind that from an educational basis, you know, we're trying to keep kids in their original placements. We tend to discourage students from multiple transfers, and you know, there are some exceptions to our transfer bylaw, and we're very busy with helping to ensure that those exceptions are being met when a student has requested a transfer.
We are talking with Dr. Debbie Moore, and she is the Associate Commissioner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. It won't be long until the OHSAA's first winter sport tournament is underway, and which I believe is one of yours too, swimming and diving. And if I remember correctly, it's also the longest event. Does that not cover 4 days?
It does. Our swimming and diving tournaments are hosted by the Canton City School District, actually up where we're having our football tournaments at the CT Brannon Natatorium. And it is a long tournament because swimming and diving is an individual sport. It's 12 different events with diving being showcased. And we have 2 divisions of diving that take place on Wednesday and 1 division on Thursday, and then we start our swimming on Thursday evening, and then we have all-day swimming Friday, and then another diving final on Saturday, and then the Division I finals on Saturday afternoon.
The individual sports, how are they different, and how do you have to handle them differently when it comes to something like that as opposed to, say, a team sport like we're seeing and hearing this weekend with football?
Well, they are different because what happens in an individual sport like swimming and diving or gymnastics or track and field is that you're taking the individual performance of a student, you know, one-on-one, and then you're taking those performances and combining them for a team score. So even though we present team trophies in those individual sports, it's really all about you versus your opponent or you versus the field, such as in a swimming and diving competition, and it is different.
We're talking again with Dr. Debbie Moore, and she is the Associate Commissioner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. I've got to ask you this question. Is your job easier now, more difficult now, the same level of difficulty? And how do you handle all the challenges that you have to face? We're in an ever-changing world. Computers seem to be taking over so many aspects of our life. Have they made things easier for you, more difficult, or is it still the same?
Well, you know, that's a great question. I think our jobs are probably a little more difficult because we're more accessible. We need to be available pretty much 24/7. I think technology does make our communications a little more fluid, I guess, and makes it easier for us to communicate. But then again, it puts more pressure on you to be there and available when somebody needs something.
If I asked you, just between you and me, what's your favorite sport? Would you answer that question, or would you become the diplomat here?
You know, I love all of our sports, but if you ask me my favorite, I think volleyball has to be my favorite sport.
And why is that?
I love the atmosphere. I love the team aspect. And even though I was an individual competitor myself with a background in gymnastics and swimming and diving, I did coach volleyball, and I just think it's a great all-around sport for students.
So the final question is, which is more difficult, being an athlete, a coach, or an administrator?
They're all difficult. They have different aspects, and you didn't even include officials in there. I think
you weren't an official, were you?
Yes, I was. I was an official as well in several sports, but all of them have difficult aspects, and the great thing is we're all trying to reach the same goal of providing an educational experience for these students that we serve.
Dr. Moore, thank you so much, not only for your time, but for your leadership. And is this the best job a person can have?
This is the best job a person can have. I love it. And in spite of the challenges that we have and sometimes difficult times, it's just great to be able to work with young people and to be able to work in the sport arena.
We should add this as well, too. Is there a way to contact the folks here at the OHSAA?
We prefer that our public contact us through their school administrators. We do try to answer all of our email, but we let them know that our priority is to address issues with our member schools and, of course, with our officials.
That is the voice of Dr. Debbie Moore, and she is the Associate Commissioner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Let's pause now for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You are listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by Chocolate Milk.
This is Joe Thomas from the Cleveland Browns. This is Chinedum Ndukwe from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Take it from me.
Take it from me.
Nutrient-rich chocolate milk is an ideal beverage to drink after sporting events and practices.
Being active and eating healthy are keys to living well.
Chocolate milk tastes great.
Refuel with chocolate milk. It's a great way to fuel up.
Eat healthy, get active, make a difference.
I'm Professor Burke from the University of Farmers, where agents' intellects are focused like laser beams, and this is a pop quiz. True or false? There is no reward for turning 50, the big 50. False. By sitting down with a farmer's agent, you can get access to the Farmer's 50-plus discount and many others that could save you hundreds on your home insurance. But other than that, it's mostly just slippers and bingo.
We are insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum.
Call a farmer's agent to discuss tailoring. It's time for state high school championship football on the Ohio High School Athletic Association Radio Network.
Welcome back to Fawcett Stadium here in Canton. We're at halftime of the D3 state championship game between Cardinal, Mooney, and Shawnee. And at the break, it is 21-7. Mooney on top of this one. I'm Randy Rhinehart alongside A.J. Trapasso. Glad to have you aboard here on the OHSAA Radio Network. Reminder, this is the second of 6 state championship games you can hear on the radio network. For radio stations along the line, we always remind you to refresh your browser at regular intervals as well, too. Earlier today, in the D5 championship game at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon, it was Kirtland going the distance, and they got the victory over Coldwater, scoring 7 in the first 2 quarters each, and then 14 in the fourth quarter. They beat Coldwater by a count of 28-13, so they end their season with the state championship, and they go undefeated as well.
That's an incredible run that Kirkland went on, and unfortunately for my boy Ross Holman, it's 3 in a row for Coldwater.
Had a chance to cover them last year in the state championship game. You look at the total offense in that game, and boy, over 700 yards in total offense. And for Kirtland, an interesting breakdown. They had 410 yards rushing, 11 yards passing in that game. And on the other side for Coldwater, well, they had 73 yards rushing and 249 yards passing. But Kirtland, congratulations, the first state champion crowned here in this state championship series of 6 games you can hear on the OHSAA Radio Network. Well, the band's entertaining here at halftime. Right now it's the pride of Shawnee. The director is Michael Kaburik in his second year, 23 years in the program though altogether. The assistants are Jacob Pattern, Will Shoemaker, Becky Reed. The field commander is Brittany Reed, who is the daughter of Becky Reed. 68 in all on the field. The halftime theme is West Side Story. They're playing West Side Opener with a solo by Vanessa Walters on trumpet. One Hand, One Heart, and America featuring Vanessa Walters on trumpet and Jennifer Kaufman on F-horn. And then Somewhere Tonight honors the band. Well, it's the 21st year qualifying for the state marching band finals and numerous awards this season. And for more information on the Pride of Shawnee band, you can hit the net at ShawneeBand.com. Cardinal Mooney's marching band, the Marching Cardinals, played the national anthem. They were directed by Brian T. Harris in his second year. The assistants are Melanie Harris and Angelina Radilovic, 20 in the band. The featured twirler is Monica Batusi. The band president is Justin Burke. The dance line captain is Aaron Smith. Their halftime theme was Broadway, We're Not Going to Take It, the first song, then Fame, then Angry Birds, featuring the percussion flapping their wings and running around in Phantom of the Opera, the last song. Saxophonist Justin Burke was part of the District 5 Honors Band. The band is selling discount cards at Cardinal Mooney, and for more information on the band, you can hit the net at cardinalmusicweebly.com. That's cardinalmusicweebly.com, or call 330-788-5007. That's 330-788-5007, extension 131. Let's listen for 1 second to the marching band here at halftime from the Pride of Shawnee with Somewhere and Tonight. Pride of Shawnee, the Shawnee High School Marching Band. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have a Hall of Famer joining us. And no, I'm not talking about A.J. Trapasso. We're talking about Jack Youngblood. That and more around the corner when we come back here. We'll pause now for these messages from your local station. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by Chocolate Milk.
Ohio students helped create the association's program on sporting behavior.
Through the Respect the Game campaign, we are encouraging student athletes, parents, fans, coaches, and officials to do 3 important things.
Speak with courtesy, act with dignity, and play or observe with pride.
Bill Hoskett, Ohio State basketball All-American, NBA champion, and Olympic gold medalist on student athletes.
Studies show that students who play school sports tend to have better attendance records, higher grade point averages, fewer discipline problems, and are more likely to pursue a college education. High school sports also teach leadership, character, and provide the foundation for becoming a good citizen. Let's respect the game and remember to always keep student first in student athlete.
A message from the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Welcome back to Fawcett Stadium in Canton at halftime of the D3 State Championship game. And right now, Mooney on top of Shawnee by a count of 21-7. Randy Rhinehart alongside A.J. Trapasso, and also next to a legend. We're talking about the one, the only, Herbert Jackson, Jack Youngblood III. And Jack, welcome to the OHSAA Radio Network.
Hey, it's always good to be in Canton. It really is. To come home. This is our second home now.
Well, you know, I mentioned all your honors, and it's amazing. And I had a chance to watch you because you're only a couple of years older than me. So the honors that you have received, obviously the zenith has to be the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But not only that, but the College Football Hall of Fame, the Florida Hall of Fame, first team All-American, NFC and NFL Player of the Year defensively in the 70s. I mean, when you look back at all those honors, does it seem like yesterday, and how does it feel?
Oh, it really does. And I'm truly blessed that, I have been recognized for the God-given talent that he gave me to play the game. You know, the old story is, I had one and only one opportunity to go from high school, where these guys are right now in a championship situation, to the University of Florida. One opportunity, and that set us off to the road to Canton.
And let's talk about when you come back to Canton. Do you go back to the Hall of Fame and take a look every time?
You don't miss that. You do not miss that one. I mean, these people here, 4,000 strong, and it's a week-long, event. And they treat us as though we're something special, and it's a extraordinary special time for the inductees.
I had a chance to go through the Hall of Fame for the first time in 2009, Jack, and I was just blown away with they've got the heads of everybody in there, and they've got the stats and everybody's names, and I just remember going through there and seeing the big names and the guys that I grew up watching. My dad got a chance to go in there with me, and the guys that he enjoyed watching, and it's just got to be a thrill to be a part of such a fraternity of guys that are just legends in this game.
When you think about it, and there's only, I may have my numbers a little bit wrong here, but I think there's only 264, something like that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and there's only a few of us still here. I mean, it's an amazing number to think that you were one of those who have been honored, to that limit.
Jack, take a look at the high school game. How has it changed down through the years? When you were playing, do you remember this kind of passing?
They're bigger and they're faster.
And not only was Jack a great player, too, but I remember him as a great broadcaster, too. Do you miss that side of things? Would you like to get back into it again?
Well, I've had my hand into it a little bit here and there. I did it for 5 or 6 years there with the Rams, and then went on to ESPN for a little bit. Made a mistake there and got out of that because I was into the management end of football. So, I could do this again. You feel the energy. I don't think we ever get it out of our blood.
Can you talk about the first half so far? Anything exciting that you saw in this contest?
Somebody's got to stop the run someplace. Yeah. Somebody's got to stop the run.
You work with a lot of charities, too.
Yeah. And
one of them I know that you work with has to do with a lot of retired NFL players and about head injuries and trauma and things like that. Can you touch on some of that work that you do?
Yeah, we're trying to come up with a solution for the head trauma and those issues that I've seriously noticed with my comrades in the Hall of Fame, and of course it's extensive across the board there. We've got to start addressing the issues and stop looking at the symptoms. Mm-hmm. And the therapy that I'm trying to institute into the league and into football in general deals with the issues and corrects those broken brain waves that we do to ourselves when we're out there on the field.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about, I think, not only the direction of high school football, but the wide open style? You talked a little bit about the size, but did you ever see a game when you were in high school where you see, guys that could throw the out pattern like this or go out of the pistol formation or the gun? Unless it was Roger Staubach who was still playing the game.
Yeah. The talent of our kids today coming up in the game is phenomenal. It's in the chocolate milk.
That's what it is. And the tacos.
I'm telling you, there's something in the chocolate milk.
Well, we're talking with Jack Youngblood, who was a great football player, a great broadcaster. I remember him in a couple of TV movies as well, too. An autobiography as well, too, Blood, that I had a chance to read as well, too. You've done so many things. What was your favorite thing to do outside of playing the game of football?
My hand in the management end of it,
right.
Trying to, once you've played the game and you've been on the field, you know what goes on in the organization. Then to try and continue the success of that organization. I love trying to find the players to fit the places in our organization right. that would continue that excellence along the way. That's fun. It's fun to do.
Who was the toughest guy you went up against? Either an offensive lineman or another guy on defense that you thought was almost up to your caliber? Because in your day there were so many great defensive players.
Well, I've said this for years. Pound for pound, the toughest guy that I played against was Walter Payton. I mean, he came to play every down and didn't take a play off. And when he wasn't touching it, mm-hmm. he was blocking somebody, and he blocked me too many times.
AJ, any final words? Here's a guy that was with the Titans for a period of time. He was the first man to hit the scoreboard at the new Texas Stadium.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, I think that's been my demise. You irritate a man like Jerry Jones, and he has a lot of power and authority through the league. So hopefully that's not the reason. But I've had a chance to sniff the NFL, and it's just an honor to have you up here and to talk to you. And I appreciate you taking the time with us.
It's our pleasure. Anytime.
And you still like arena football too?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. That's got a place. That's got a place in the niche. Someplace along the line, we can continue to push guys through the game that still want to play and still have some skills.
And Jack, finally, a message for the student athlete of today. What message could you impart to them as you leave?
It's not about sports. It's about getting an education and then taking that to the next level. That's the important thing.
The University of Florida Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he's here right now on the OHSAA Radio Network. Jack Youngblood, thank you so much for all your time and all that you've done.
It's my pleasure.
And I still
Anytime.
like your TV movies. We'll talk about those sometime too.
Okay.
Jack, thank you for everything.
Good deal.
Jack Youngblood, Hall of Famer, and a man whose bust can be seen not too far from here in Canton. What an honor it was to have him here on the halftime. And what does that say about the Ohio High School Athletic Association, too, and the partnership they have with a guy like this? And how fearful he was. And we can wish him a happy birthday in just a month, too, because Jack will have a little celebration of his natal day as well, too. So, Jack, thank you again for your time and for all that you do. We're at halftime of this D3 state championship game. And Mooney on top of Shawnee by a count of 21-7. Let's pause now for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by
Chocolate Milk.
Proud to stand on our own, proud to be homegrown, a familiar face and a name you know. Come on, we know you, we know your needs, we know what being a neighbor means. Can you hear it? Fueling the American spirit. No matter when, no matter where, Marathon will take you there.
Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
College football's only two-time Heisman Trophy winner, Ohio State's Archie Griffin, on the value of high school sports.
I was determined to succeed on the football field, but it's the life lessons that athletics taught me that will last forever. That began in high school when I learned the importance of discipline, teamwork, sacrifice, and responsibility. Those values stay with student athletes long after their playing days are over. Remember, the Ohio High School Athletic Association and Interscholastic Athletics seek to prepare students not for the next level of sport, but for the next level of life. At that, we can all be winners.
A message from the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
You're listening to the State Football Championships on the Ohio High School Athletic Association Radio Network.
Fans, today's game is brought to you by Chocolate Milk. Refuel with chocolate milk. Farmers Insurance, because ready feels good. East Bay, the athletic sports source. Sports Time Ohio, fans for life. Marathon Oil, fueling the American spirit. Time Warner Cable, the power of you. And by Taco Bell, think, AJ, outside the bun.
I do often.
All right. About 5 minutes away from the start of the second half D3 state championship game. And 21-7 the count in this one. So glad to have you aboard here on the OHSAA Radio Network. Randy Rhinehart alongside AJ Trapasso. And a chance a couple of minutes ago to talk to a legend. When we had a chance to talk to somebody like Jack Youngblood. As a guy that's been in the NFL, you look at a guy like that. What does it mean to be with somebody like that and to hear his input on things?
You know, from his point of view, I mean, he's got the best point of view. He sees, you know, the game the way it is. He played it back in its heyday, back when all you heard about was the toughness of the game. He's actively on the side of trying to prevent injuries and prevent long-term effects of the game. With these guys, you know, they live for this. They put their life on the line, you know, every week to play this game, and just to get a chance to talk to him for a few minutes, I mean, it's a real honor.
Let's take a look now at the stats from the first half of this contest as the Cardinals lead the Braves by 14. First downs, dead even, 9 apiece. Rushing yards, Mooney with 174, Shawnee with 90. Passing yards, Shawnee 3-1 in that category, 62-21. Total offense, 152-195. Penalties, 3 in the first half for Shawnee, but only for a total of 8 yards, and 1 for 10 on Mooney. We only had penalties in the second quarter. It was an error-free first quarter when it came to penalties. 1 turnover. That was by Shawnee. That was the interception that set up a score for Mooney. As we take a look at the scoring drives in the first half. In the second quarter, a 7-play, 36-yard drive culminated in a Roosevelt Griffin 2-yard touchdown run. And with that, the extra point made it 7-0. That took 2:26 off the clock. Then an 8-play, 79-yard drive took 3:10 off the clock. Jarzab for Shawnee answered on a 15-yard run, and it made it 7 apiece after the extra point. Then it would be Cardinal Mooney getting the upper hand. Quinn ended a 7-play, 70-yard drive, taking 2:22 off the clock. He went in from 2 yards out. It was 14-7 after the extra point by Connor Dorina. And Dorina would get a chance to kick again because there was a 3-play, 18-yard drive. Took 91 seconds off the clock. Quinn took it in from a yard out. And you look at Quinn now, and he's got a grand total of 14 touchdowns on the ground this season. And with that, it was 21-7. Passing in the first half, Jarzab for Shawnee was 5 of 12 for 62 yards, 1 interception, a long of 17. P.J. Quinn, 2 of 7, 21 yards, and a long of 17. Rushing, Jarzab, the leading rusher for Shawnee, 9 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown, a long of 21. Alex McCrory has been held in check. McCrory, 5 carries for 19 yards. On the other side, Roosevelt Griffin, nearly at the century mark. Remember, they had a couple plays, AJ. They went 34 yards apiece. Justice Ellis Moore had one, and Roosevelt Griffin had one. He also has a touchdown. 13 carries, 96 yards for him. Ellis Moore, 6 for 48, and P.J. Quinn, 10 for 22. Receptions, Ryan Farragher's got 2 for 21, and that's it for P.J. Quinn. Winning Company. On the other side, you've got 5 different guys with a catch apiece. Huggins, Young, Williams, Bostic, and Chirac for the total of 62 yards. There's the number breakdown of all this. What thoughts go through your mind when you think about the first 24 minutes?
You know, the turnover is a killer. It stops the drives. It set up Mooney into scoring position. But for Shawnee, they get the ball back. So that's the bright side of this. They get the ball back to start this the second half. And they just got to do something with this. They've got to go down the field, and if they don't score, they at least have to turn the field position in their favor. They've got to gain some momentum. And to beat a team like Mooney, who's been here before, the coaches know how to win in this situation. They're going to have to give a very, very powerful battle just to come back in this game.
Well, yeah, when you look at it, it's been a familiar situation for Youngstown Mooney, Cardinal Mooney, to be in a state championship game. We mentioned the fact that they have won 7 state championships already in the career of that school, and P.J. Fecco has done a masterful job. He's got a mark of 108-40. This is a team, too, when you look back on it, let's remember they were 2-2 after the first 4 weeks of the season. They beat Camp McKinley here late. They beat Boardman. Then they lost to St. Ed's and Lake Catholic. So easily they could have folded the tents, but no, they came back and played very well against a team from Delaware, Bear, the Red Lion Christian Academy. They actually left the Athletic Association in Delaware to play, I don't want to say club level, but more outside the organization there in Delaware, and they got by them. Then they went on a string of winning 3 consecutive games, lost to Ursuline, beat Uniontown Lake, and then big wins in the postseason against Canal Fulton Northwest. They beat Big Red of Steubenville, Dover, and Chagrin Falls, and that says a lot, beating Big Red of Steubenville, getting by them 24-22, and they made it to this point in time. Meanwhile, on the other side for Shawnee, this is a team that's 14-0 for the first time, the most wins in school history. They got here with victories over Taft, Dayton Marshall, and Jonathan Alder and Elida, getting by Elida 56-42, a game they were down by 14 at halftime.